be meeting here shortly at St. Albans, West Virginia, and Kingdom Hall of the Jehovah's Witness.
You were born when, Gathie?
April the 18th, 1931.
And your parents? Their names were?
Walter Wesley Barnett and Rosa May Barnett.
Jehovah's Witness, was that part of your family's background from the beginning?
Since as far back as I can remember.
Right. Tell me a little bit about your mom and dad and their religious background.
As far as I know, they never was very religious until they started going to the meetings of the witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when we were real young. We were attending the Slip Hill Elementary School on Route 21 back of Charleston at the time.
Based on the Gathie case, the West Virginia School Board passed its laws which required a salute to the flag.
Yes, sir.
Had you had conversations at home, do you recall? Did your dad or mom talk at all about how you should react?
Sure. We would study that, and they talked to us about what Jehovah expects of us, and things, you know, that they might want us to salute the flag and things like that.
What did they say? Do you recall?
Just that it was against God's law to give any allegiance to anything other than Jehovah.
And this premised basically on Exodus?
Exodus 20 and also 1 John 1:21 says, do not have anything to do with idols. And so we consider the flag as an idol. In fact, in a lot of places it's worshipped. And it's even in some encyclopedias they say it's something that is worshipped. And so we just never did that.
Do you recall the day when you first were confronted with the issue of?
Yes, it was sometime right after the Christmas vacation when we went back to school after the war started. That winter, when the principal told us that the Kanawha County Board of Education had made it mandatory for everyone to salute the flag. And if we didn't salute the flag, then we would have to go home.
Now, they told your parents that, I assume? Yeah. And what was your parents' conversation with you?
Oh, I remember Mom said, well, don't worry about it. Said, it'll come out all right.
The principal or the teacher said, please rise and salute the flag, and you chose not to.
Right.
How'd you feel?
All right.
No, I mean, how did the kids react to it?
Oh, at first they didn't pay no attention to it. Until after the war started, they kind of, some of them would kind of jeer at us. I remember one boy called us a Jap, you know. But other than that, I mean, there wasn't much said. The teachers were pretty nice. She understood. For several weeks, we went back every morning and stayed till the flag salute was over, and then we went home. And the lawyer said that was necessary because they would say Dad had kept us out of school. And so once the truant officer came to the house, wanted to know why we weren't in school. And so Mom said, well, I sent him, and they sent him home. And so that kept him from getting fined. And well, they did find him once, but it wasn't much. And but that kept him out of jail because he didn't keep us home. They just wouldn't let us go to school.
Well, that's interesting. So every day in the morning you were at school?
Yes, for a while.
And then the flag salute would occur, and then you would?
Get up and go home.
How long were you got out of school?
After the war started, when we was put out of school, up until the next fall, because see, the Supreme Court in West Virginia said that they didn't have no right keeping us out of school during their trial that summer. So we started back the next fall, but it still hadn't been settled through the Supreme Court yet for the other students in other states.
Did you follow it as it went up through the Supreme Court?
Not really.
Was it of any?
No.
I'm sure our parents did.
Yeah.
Children at school for a while, you know, as I said, kind of mocked us a little bit. But I remember we tried to go out into ministry work once while we were out of school with a friend of ours, The teacher and the woman's door, all she was interested in, don't know why we weren't in school.
Right.
So we had to explain that to her.
In the West Virginia case, there were 7 petitioners, plaintiffs. Were they related to you?
Yes, they were cousins.
The case came down from the Supreme Court in 1943. Did you even know about it?
Yes. Mhm.
Was it a conversation piece at school?
I don't think so. There wasn't much made of it. I remember when we first started school in '42, after the West Virginia Supreme Court said we could go back, the teachers didn't particularly like it too well. We moved into Charleston and started a new school, Lincoln Grade School. And but my mom told them, she said that, well, there has been decided through the Supreme Court. And she said, no, but it has through the West Virginia Supreme Court. And they can go back to school. And so she couldn't do anything about it, but she really wasn't too happy.
When the case came down and you heard that you'd won your case in the United States Supreme Court, what was your reaction?
Just glad that everybody got to go back to school.
Since that time, the Barnette case, as you know, keeps coming up more and more. Have people been contacting you for comments?
Quite a bit,
Yeah.
especially during the Bush and Dukakis statements when they were running for president, that they wanted to make it mandatory that the teachers have to have the flag salute case.
Right.
During that time, I had newspapers, reporters, television stations, people that write books and articles, call them quite a few times.
How do you feel today? Here we are, 2003, 60 years after the case. As you reflect on it, your name is attached to a Supreme Court case. What's it all mean?
Well, I'm just glad that we had a chance to uphold our beliefs in the Supreme Court and that they decided in our favor, because it helped everybody, all the children all over. And when our children was in school, my oldest son, one of his teachers tried to make him salute and send him to the office, but the principal knew about the case and that she didn't have no right to do that. And so they can't make a person go against their conscience, or try to make them even. Now, I guess some of them might try, but they can't get by with it.
How did your kids, at some point your children went to class and they probably read through a civics or political science or government books and turned the page and said, West Virginia versus Barnette.
I just said, that's my mom and dad.
Were they surprised?
No.
How did you tell them?
I just told them the whole story, how we were put out of school and when, and how it was handled through the courts. First to a little hearing to a local JP, I guess you call him. Then when it went to Supreme Court in West Virginia, I remember a brother came down from society to help out with our local lawyer. And then when they told us what they had decided, so we knew then we'd get to go back to school in the fall. And they know the story, you know, and so they were just glad too that it was settled. Reporter asked me one time, a lot of people when they believe in a certain right or they're stand up for something, that if someone is not watching, if they're watching them, they'll pretend to stand up for it, and yet say in their heart, I'm sorry, I didn't really mean that. I said, would you do that during a flag salute? Just go ahead and act like you're saluting the flag and then pray to Jehovah to forgive you? I said, no way, because Jehovah knows our hearts. He knows what we're doing. And he said, well, what did that mean to you? I said, well, the court case, what did it mean to you? I said, well, all I can think of is it just meant that children all over the world had the freedom to go to school and not salute the flag. And that was